Hi, I'm Jess.
Hi, I'm Kristen.
And welcome to Rediscover, a space where we engage in authentic conversation about life as we grow through it and whatever comes up along the way.
Nothing is off the table here. We talk about the real stuff, the hard stuff, the beautiful moments, and everything under the sun.
Around here, we're always rediscovering, sharing empowering stories, and connecting our hearts and minds with every facet of life.
We invite you to be part of the conversation as we broaden our perspectives, release limitations, and grow to create our most joyful and fulfilling lives together.
So grab a cup of something cozy as we rediscover all the best parts of you.
And bring a little magic into your day.
Hi there, I'm Jess.
Hi, I'm Kristen.
And welcome back to this month's episode of Rediscover.
November.
Holy moly.
I don't know what happened.
I think when we do episodes monthly, it just makes the time fly by because all of a sudden I feel like we record one, we get it edited, published, and then bam, it's time to record again.
Yeah, it really does.
And so much happens in a month. Like, it's really crazy. Last month when we were recording this, like, the things that we're talking about today weren't even developed.
No.
You know, and same with the month before. So, yeah, it definitely gives a perspective when you do a monthly
I like it,
Rediscover.
though. It's a good way to reflect on everything that's going on in a way that feels like you actually have something to reflect on. Because if we were doing them weekly still, like, it would be like, okay, we talked to you last week. Not much has happened in a week, but a lot does happen in 30 days. So,
yeah.
And it does kind of help to, like, transition from season to season. Because November is a very transitional month, I feel like. Like, it's still autumn, but it's also, like, Christmas. If you're a midnight on Halloween, breaking out the Christmas music person.
Like me.
Yep, same. If I'm home, I think the one year, it was 2 Halloweens ago, I got home from my, like, friend's Halloween party, like, walked in the house, dropped my stuff, went into what I call it the Monica closet. It's like the catch-all, you know, in my apartment where I keep all the decorations and things, and, like, pulled out the bins, like, dragged out the Christmas tree box and was like, okay, Christmas music, hauling out the decorations, let's go.
I know, it's fun to make it an event, and I will stand by the fact that Christmas is a season. Like, it needs to have longevity to it, because if you only celebrate it for, like, those few weeks right before, it's like there's just so much that goes into it and so much that you can do. Like, there's so many opportunities for movies or events, or, like, if you want to have a little Christmas party, like, you need time to prepare. You need time to, like, enjoy your decorations. It's so much work to put them up. You're only going to put them up for 2 weeks.
I was going to say that. Yeah, it is a lot of work. I think when you have, like, I don't know. I remember it being like a whole marathon when I was a kid too. Like, we would do it Thanksgiving weekend. That was just my mom's preference growing up. But it was like, cancel your plans. We're decorating for Christmas this weekend. And it was a thing that took the entire weekend, even with all of us chipping in. So doing it all by myself now, and I, like, have a decent amount of decorations for one person. It's,
as you should,
an undertaking. I have, like, several Christmas trees, and, like, maybe not, like, Taylor level of Christmas cheer, but yeah, to put them up at the beginning of December and then 3 weeks later be like, okay, time to take it down. That's exhausting.
Yeah, it's, like, just not long enough.
I'm far too lazy for that.
Yeah.
I sometimes leave them up. Okay, don't judge. But I sometimes leave them up until February. Because I'm just like, it's January and there's nothing going on in January, and I'm looking at them and they're so cozy and pretty, and I like having them on at night, like all the lights and stuff, and
they're
I'm like,
very ambient.
Why am I taking this down just because Christmas is over? There's nothing else going on in January that's competing with it. But then February rolls around and I'm like, okay, it's time.
That's why Taylor Swift says we can leave the Christmas lights up till January.
I mean, she gave us permission, so I don't see any reason to go against her.
Yes, our mother.
Speaking of, as we record this, we are a mere 10 hours away from the release of 1989 Taylor's version, and I'm so excited.
I am so excited. I know this is your era.
I have been waiting for so long.
This was a really special era for me too, because it came out when I did my Disneyland college program, and that is when I met Krista, who is the biggest Swiftie I know.
Agreed.
Honored to know her. If you don't know Krista, she's my redhead Swiftie loving friend.
You probably do know her.
You probably do. Krista Rose 143.
How many concerts did she go to for the Eras tour? Like
oh my gosh.
11, 12,
hopefully
like that.
13. So
I would think that she would go for 13.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Like, she has been a hardcore Taylor Swift fan since the beginning, and I think doing the Disneyland College program together, like, we obviously had Disney in common and then Taylor Swift in common, and we loved 1989. Like, we would drive around, and we're like 20 years old in California, like, listening to Blank Space and How You Get the Girl. That was my fave at the time. Like, all these classics. And honestly, like, the day that our Disneyland College program ended and I was shipping all my stuff back to home, I heard, I think it was Blank Space, like, go on the speakers in the UPS store, and I started crying. Aww. And I was like, nobody cries to this song but me. But it was because, like, that album was so emotional, and, like, it literally secured this nostalgic feeling to that era of my life.
Yes.
Which is so cool, because that's, like, the whole concept of Taylor Swift is every one of her albums is, like, secured in different eras.
Yeah.
And it's, like, her albums parallel so much to, like, life events for all of us who listen. So I think it's cool to see, you know, which one connects to which season of life, you know, from your own perspective. So it was special.
Yeah. It's definitely my favorite era. I don't know. I don't remember making a conscious decision that it was. I think it's so weird because I feel like I never answer these kinds of questions that way. If someone's like, what's your favorite food or whatever, I'm always like, let me think about that. Yeah, I have such, like, vivid memories attached to it. It was a very, like, transformative season of life for me.
And for Taylor, too.
I think 1989 was, like, the time of my life that I felt like I was coming into, like, being independent and enjoying it. Well, if you were 20, I guess I was 18.
Yeah.
So it was my freshman year of college. But when did it come out? Like,
2014.
What month?
Oh, God, I don't know. Was it when I was there? Let me look it up.
Because
it's in the fall.
I had kind of like a dark, rough patch. I think we both did. Our freshman years of college, respectively, were not great.
October 27th, 2014.
Okay, that makes sense.
Which makes total sense.
So, okay, let's go back then in the archives, if you'll bear with me for a moment, because I want to find out what day I got my call about Disney. Because it was late October 2014. Oh my God. I'm not kidding.
It was the same day.
I'm going to look for the screenshot. There it is. Wow, it's so sad how quickly I found that. October 22nd, 2014.
Okay, so literally within the week.
So 5 days before 1989 came out. I know, it was a great week. So yeah, so like I had been coming off of this very difficult season where I felt like kind of crippled and stuck and trapped in my own head and like, can I even do this? Like this thing that each of us, again, respectively had always wanted to do, that you were probably in California at that point, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I was, trying to go to Disney World to do my college program. I wasn't feeling independent. I was feeling very like codependent on like close friends and family. I was feeling like kind of agoraphobic.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want to leave the house. I was having really bad anxiety, and I think those are the moments where you like do something drastic. And not that applying for a college program is drastic, because it wasn't. I did that over the summer.
It's a drastic move.
I did that over the summer, and I had like my phone interviews and everything over the summer, but my audition was at the beginning of October in 2014. It was.
What did you get assigned originally?
I didn't.
Oh, you never got assigned anything?
No, I had gone to the audition before they like made the decision or whatever. In fact, I had gotten one of those, like, it's like a college deferral thing where, like, you don't get accepted for early admission or whatever. Yeah. I had gotten an email saying, like, I don't know, there was, like, a term for it. Do you remember? Yes, when you, like, don't get accepted right away?
It's not waitlist, is it?
It was something akin like to being waitlisted. And this was, like, after pending, all the interviews. Yeah, yes, maybe it was pending. Yeah. And I was devastated. So I went down at the beginning of October and, like, went to my audition and then came back, and it must have been October 22nd, I guess. And then 5 days later, 1989 came out. And then, like, I went to Boston to visit Allie at school and had, like, a fun trip with her before I was leaving. And, like, started planning. So then I had a thing to look forward to. So like finished my semester and like started packing up my life and like started enjoying the things around me because I like knew I was leaving them instead of just viewing them as mundane because I was stuck in them. Like I started to see my circumstances very differently. And the background music of all of that life shifting was 1989. So it was just like a transformative season.
There was something in the air.
Yeah.
It was a magical time.
And it was crazy because that was almost 10 years ago.
That's
insane. It was 9 years ago.
That's crazy.
So October 22nd, 2014 was 9 years ago.
Oh my God.
So just so much of life has happened. And I think it's why I love that she's doing like the Taylor's version of every album because she's taking her music back and like, as a feminist, I'm like proud of her and gung-ho about it for that reason. But I'm also loving these albums being re-released because we're all getting to like relive that. It's like a little reunion or something so special. It's like when you come across like a little clip from a TV show you watched as a kid or something like that. Like it kind of takes you back to that season of life. It's very cool and I'm so excited. I can't even imagine her not doing these re-releases at this point. And it's just so crazy. And I don't know if I've said this in the last episode we talked about her or not, but I think that like this whole Scooter Braun thing was it was so devastating and it was horrible and like it's just like horrible to lose your music. Right. But it's just so insane to see like this bigger picture now zoomed out, even just it hasn't even been that long, a couple years later. And she is literally on top of the world now. And honestly, if that didn't happen, she would still be doing great. Yeah. But, like, I think this has propelled her out of the water, like, in an incomprehensible way, which is just so cool. I can't even imagine all these songs getting left in the vault. Like, I know. Some of my favorite songs right now are vault songs. Yeah. I listen to them all the time. Like, I cannot imagine living without Message in a Bottle or Mr. Perfectly Fine. Where the heck was Mr. Perfectly Fine in 2013 when I needed it? Like, I don't understand. And it's really weird because a lot of them, I'm, like, going back and healing, like, myself from, like, age 19, 20, 21. Like, I can't even imagine what 1989 is going to bring up. I'm excited. It's going to be crazy. I'm so excited for the vault tracks. Like, I usually listen to the whole album first, but like I want to go to the vaults. Like, I want to see what the new stuff is. Yeah. But this is an important question. Do you believe in the double album theory? Okay. That's a loaded question.
Yeah. Or what's your prediction?
I don't know if I have one because this is when it's so hard to be a Gemini. I'm telling you, it's so rare that I am so decisive on something. The duality of like my personal nature like wants to think that it's true because it's, I don't know, it's fascinating. I honestly am just enjoying the speculation and
I know it is fun.
I'm enjoying watching all sides of the phenomenon. I'm enjoying watching the people who are fully invested in the phenomenon, and I'm enjoying watching the people who are like annoyed that Taylor Swift is dating Travis Kelce, and everyone's like, wow, she really put him on the map, and they're like, are you kidding me? He's won however many Super Bowls the Chiefs have won. I don't know, because I'm not, sorry Taylor, a fan of your boyfriend's football team, but
I know it had to be the Chiefs of all teams.
See, the Buffalo Bills are really nice boys. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know.
Like her,
except I do really like Travis. He is a sweetheart.
But like, think of Taylor Swift and Dawson Knox. How cute would that be?
They would be cute too.
They'd be so cute. They'd be cute. They both have like that naturally curly hair.
I know. Anyway. I feel like I've gotten into the rabbit hole though of like, I don't like the Chiefs because they always screw Buffalo over. And that's really the main reason.
Patrick Mahomes is the bane of my existence.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes is not our fave. He's just not it.
He has bad energy. Yeah. We have decided.
But Travis is a sweetheart. Him and his brother's podcast is so cute.
It is cute.
They are so like, I don't know. They're just, I feel like I could just talk to them like,
yeah, you could like hang out with them. He would make sense in Buffalo, I think.
Yeah, so maybe he can just get traded to the Bills, and then
that would be great.
That would be perfect.
But like, I'm just saying, Dawson Knox does play the same position.
But
yes. But anyway, back to the double album theory. What is your opinion?
I fully believe it.
Okay.
I think it's happening. And this is going to be so funny because by the time this episode comes out, 1989 is going to be out. Like,
right.
This is actually really fun to record because we don't know.
We don't know.
But
why did this podcast turn into a Taylor Swift podcast?
Duh. But I believe it's going to happen. Just because, I mean, the most obvious thing to me is there's no features.
Okay.
And also the last song, I think, on 1989 Vault Track. Let me look up the name of it exactly.
See, I haven't looked up any of this because I want to be so surprised. I don't care if you tell me now because we're 10 hours away. But
it's okay.
I haven't looked up anything.
Well, so I think
1989 specifically.
Yeah, so she did this like quiz on Google where people could like figure out the Vault Track names, and so those have been released, but there is one called Is It Over Now? ? And I think it's the last song on the album. So I'm like, that's suspicious because she would do something like that.
Yeah.
And I also do know
she's so fucking clever.
I know. She's so smart. And, like, honestly, like, a lot of people just post theories all the time. She's probably like, oh, my God, that's brilliant. Let's do it.
Yeah, honestly. I wonder how much is just... Oh, totally. Yeah.
Well, people get so creative. But the other thing is, too, like, she was going to... And I don't know. I think this could be... So is it karma? Like, karma's like the concept of the lost album that was supposed to be between 1989 and Reputation.
Right.
So I think that would make sense. Like, she's reclaiming her work, so she, like, gets to reclaim whatever she wants, which means if she had an album that was going to go out before, like, the whole Kardashian snake scandal went down, like, why wouldn't she release that? And then there's also the duality of, like, the colors, like the black and white that people keep saying. But karma represents orange, so I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen, but I know she's going to do something because 1989 was the most transformative era of her career. Like, it shifted her from country to pop.
Yep.
It blew her up. And all of her shows that she did during that era, she invited different pop stars to be her guest star. Instead of doing secret songs, it was who's going to be the guest star.
Right.
Ours was Idina Menzel, and she wore a Olaf costume because we were in Tampa near Orlando.
Right.
Which was cool, but that's why I also think, like, 1989 needs features.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think big things are coming. I'm excited. She's really happy. Like, I just feel like this beaming sunshine coming from her. I think she's, happy in, like, her personal life right now, which... just makes me so, like, I'm so happy that she's happy. And then, too, it's, like, I feel like she's getting to reclaim herself and, like, reclaim her reputation. No, I mean, pun intended, but also not. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I hope we get a double album selfishly because I just want more music.
Yeah, honestly.
I need more.
I know. I think
enough.
I like, yeah, there is a lot of evidence that points... Not just evidence, but, like...
Easter eggs?
Easter eggs, sure. And evidence, and also, like, we know how she plays this game at this point. Like, she's sneaky. And she always over-delivers. Like, she punches way above her weight with anything. Even when she's re-releasing an album of her own music, she's like, here's something more. And she's pretty good at keeping it under wraps. I don't know how she accomplishes that. I mean, can you imagine the NDAs that all of these people have to sign? It must be so airtight. But she does it really well. So I think I love the idea of it. If this happens, it's amazing. Again, the Gemini in me loves the idea of there being, like, more than you suspect, like another side to anything. But if all we get at midnight is 1989 Taylor's version with a few vault tracks, I will also be happy.
Me too. Well, I mean, it's 5 new songs regardless. Right. So, yeah, whatever happened. And I can't wait to hear her sing all these songs, like, in her current, vocal stature and all these things. So,
yeah.
It's going to be fun.
And I feel like at least 2 of my, like, top Taylor Swift songs of all time are from 1989. I think I put a couple on my, like, little autumn playlist that I put in the show notes a couple months ago.
What's your, like, solid faves? Like,
the like all-time favorite songs. I mean, 1989 is hard. Maybe all of them are 1989. I don't know. I really have always loved How You Get the Girl. I don't know.
It's a cutie.
It's a cute song.
That was my favorite initial 1989
My favorite initial 1989 song when I first listened to it, and I know it wasn't on, like, the original album. It was, like, the Target version or something. Was Wonderland.
Oh, it's
that
so
was
good.
Just... Again, I was in, like, the height of my, like, Disney era. I was about to go. Like, I had just found out that I was moving, and I was like, oh, my God.
I don't know how Wonderland
it was magical.
and New Romantics weren't like on the main album. Like
I don't know either.
They're some of the best songs, but
I think Wonderland was my favorite. Then I think New Romantics has sustained itself for me like as a top 10, maybe top 5.
Yeah. I like Clean. That's my fave.
Clean. I don't remember loving it when I first heard 1989, but the older I get, the more that I love it.
I love a rejuvenation song, like a transformation story, and I feel like, and like breaking free and like coming into your own, and I feel like Clean is exactly that. You know, when you're going through, especially when you're going through the dating phases of life, like in your early 20s or whenever, really, like Clean is such a good song for like moving on and letting go and like reclaiming your
I think at the time
self.
I wasn't good at that. Like I was like the queen of the relapse. So
we all go through it.
I think
it's true.
I was like the poster child for why are you getting back with your ex? Whereas now I can appreciate that, and like the visualization of it is so powerful. So I appreciate that song and love it so much more now as an adult. Not that I wasn't an adult then, but I feel like an adult. I don't feel like I felt like an adult then.
Oh my gosh.
But it's so good, and I'm so excited. This is the one I've been waiting for, so.
Yeah, I'm hyped.
Not sure I'm going to stay up because I'm very
so
tired today.
Tired. We're so tired today. I don't know what is going on.
Well, I am tired because Anthony and I accidentally stayed up till 2 a.m. watching Downton Abbey.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's probably my like 4th time. Another 2014 thing actually was when
such a good time.
My mom, my sister, and I watched it like on PBS, I think, or whatever. I don't know if it was on Amazon Prime at the time.
That one's on my list because I mean we love The Crown, so I imagine we would love Downton Abbey.
You would
too.
If you love The Crown, you would love Downton Abbey,
Lily
and
James
vice
in it?
versa. Yes,
Oh,
that's
well,
like
then
literally
I'm
how she
watching.
got discovered. And there was a girl on Downton Abbey who plays a different character. Her name is Sybil on the show, but she was a potential for Belle when they did live action Beauty and the Beast. So
that's cute.
Yeah, and you'll notice other people as well. There's a character. Dan Stevens, who is Beast in the live action.
Oh, that's so funny.
They're like in Downton Abbey as well.
They're like, casting. I love Downton Abbey. Let's just
honestly,
take everyone
it's beautiful.
From the show.
And like literally, we sit down and watch the pilot, and Anthony is instantly hooked. And this is not exactly his like genre of TV
he
show.
doesn't seem like he would like be obsessed with that
he's
show.
obsessed with it.
I love that.
Fully obsessed. He goes around like saying things like, "Have you done something jolly with your hair now?"
Oh my god,
stuff. And I'm like, oh my god.
Once you get into British television, like there's no going back.
And he's like already such a character. Now he's like got he calls it his Rolodex of characters, like accents he'll pull and things. I'm like, oh god, what have we done?
Oh, it's so funny.
But it's probably my 4th time watching it all the way through because it is such a comfort show for me. Yeah, it's so good. If you love Bridgerton or The Crown or anything like that, you will love Downton Abbey. It's on Amazon Prime. And it's definitely going to keep you busy.
Yeah.
For the winter.
Are they hour-long episodes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. So that's why I'm tired. So I don't know if I'll be able to stay up for Taylor Swift. But
that's okay. We can listen to it.
I'm going to listen in the morning if I don't listen
first thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. I'm very tired too. Because I was up packing last night.
What a great segue.
What a great segue.
Speaking of packing.
Yep.
All right, Jess.
Here we go.
Phase 2.
Phase 2 is upon us. I didn't even talk about this last time because it was still, it kind of came together pretty quickly.
We were getting, I think you had some of it together and we were recording and we were like, you were like, okay, I think we can wrap it up there. And I was like, she didn't talk about the travel.
Yeah, I think I wasn't ready yet because it's tricky because it does take a lot of time for it to really come together and like feel ready to talk about. And that's the thing with these travels is like everything's fluid and it could change.
Right, but you want it to have like some infrastructure before you start telling everyone about it.
Like a flight's booked and there's Airbnb's booked. So now it's pretty...
Like you know where you're going to sleep.
Now it's pretty solid. Like we are leaving tomorrow. So
yeah. Hopefully it's solid.
But yeah, so phase 2 is here. I are sitting in my room on the floor right now, surrounded by suitcases and folded clothes. So that's really fun. But Steven and I are heading out for another European adventure. And by now I should have announced this on Instagram, so I'll just go into it here. But
I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh. So
I'm not even going. I'm so excited.
It's going to feel like y'all are coming with me because I'm going to be posting a ton of stuff. But we are doing like a European Christmas adventure. We're going to do our similar structure as last time. We're going to do our monthly Airbnbs. And we booked one in Rothenburg, Germany, which is a small German town. It's actually the one that Epcot was based off of. I literally didn't even know.
Seriously?
Yeah. Steven went there when he was 16. He absolutely fell in love with it, and he always has wanted to go back. And then we were
looking it up on a map.
Yeah, we were talking about it one night, and we're like, which Epcot, or which city in Germany is Epcot based off of? And it's literally Rothenburg, which is so funny. But it's like a very, like, small, walled city, town. I don't even know. It looks very cute.
It's like Fantasyland. It's so cute.
It's very like Disney-esque.
Oh, it's like technically Bavaria.
I think so.
Like, is this the full name?
Yeah.
It says Bavaria, Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm really excited for that one. That'll be the kickoff.
Okay. I was just looking for like geographical, I guess,
location.
Like context. It is okay, it's in like southern Germany. It's a little northwest of Munich.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So thank you for looking that up.
Yeah.
I feel like I always like book these things and then I like actually solidify it in my brain when I'm there and I see it. Like I'm such an experiential person.
Right.
Like we can research all day, but until I'm there, it doesn't click for
right.
some reason.
No, I think I am that way as well.
Yeah. But yeah, so that'll be our first month. And the only thing that I'm like really hoping to do outside of just, enjoying Rothenburg is I do want to go to Neuschwanstein Castle, which is what Cinderella Castle is. It was used as inspiration for Cinderella Castle. So
if you've ridden Soarin' around the world,
yes,
you've seen it.
Yep, it's the castle. In Soarin' around the world, which is cool.
It's so beautiful.
I feel like I just want to go to all of the like Disney inspiration places
you to like
during my travels.
Run up to it, and I want the like dun 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 dun. dun.
Yes, please.
I want that music.
Okay, thank you for the idea.
You're welcome. I am here to be your content advisor.
I love it. Yeah, so that's month 1. Then month 2 is gonna be Vienna, Austria. Which is just Christmas market magic. We're just, you guys know I love Christmas markets, as you can, probably remember from when we went during phase 1.
I'm so excited for Christmas market content.
I'm obsessed. I can't wait. I just want to I just want to live at the Christmas market, drink mulled wine.
If you're at a Christmas market and you turn around and you're like, Kristen, because you see someone that looks uncannily like me, it's me. I'm just gonna I'm just gonna get like thermal underwear and a sleeping bag and sleep in one of the Christmas market little stalls.
Yeah, that's probably very smart.
Thank you.
To have the thermals.
I'll get one of those like portable fireplaces.
Oh my god, love it.
Perfect.
Yeah, so that'll be really fun. And then the third location we booked is even more up north. So we're getting a little bit colder with
I'm pulling up my map.
With every single location. So we are going to Finland in January.
Oh my god.
Which is chaotic.
Okay,
but
here's Austria. Mm-hmm. Here's Vienna. No, the way. The literal Arctic Circle.
Yeah, so we are staying like right near the Arctic Circle.
Amazing.
There's this place, I believe it's pronounced Rovaniemi, but I could be wrong. But I will definitely learn that.
Oh, Rovaniemi?
Yeah.
Sure. Oh, it's on the Arctic Circle.
Yeah, but that is where they have a Christmas village year-round. It's like Santa's village. There's the reindeer, the snow dogs, the whole thing.
Oh my god.
The northern lights.
Do they ever actually get summer here? Oh, look. Water. That's not frozen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not warm by any means, but... or hot, I guess.
Okay, this is gorgeous.
It's going to be really cute. It's like a very small town. And honestly, like, we were like, you know what, if the only thing we do is see the northern lights and like see some reindeer and some snow, whatever. I know, it's very cute. They like, we've been watching a lot of travel vlogs from this place. Like, this is the place I'm most excited about. They have like, you know, cozy like restaurants with fresh salmon and soups.
Oh my God, why is your health going to be so amazing while you're there?
Oh my God, I hope so. But yeah, it's going to be so much fun. I think there's a little sauna like next to our shower in the Airbnb, which is so nice, which I'm going to need to thaw
out. There's a sauna in their Airbnb.
Thank God.
Which is, I feel like, probably a more common practice in these countries.
It's super
normal. Especially, like, the infrared light and everything, because they don't see the sun. Like, they need something, right?
Yeah.
And these are countries that are known for extremely healthy populations, like, wild longevity statistics, and happiness.
Yeah.
Like, these people are so happy. And to me, I really want to know the secret. I am so excited to hear you talk about like what you observe, especially while you're in Finland, because as a heliophile, it boggles my mind that a country that has such a long winter and experiences such limited sunlight can be so overwhelmingly happy, because I associate happiness with like, did I see the sun today?
Yeah.
And not just happiness, but energy, my mood, like the way my stomach feels, everything seems inextricably linked to sunlight. And so I am very excited to hear your perspective, just like as an outsider, and what you observe.
Yeah. I'll definitely take notes. I know I follow someone on Instagram and she makes reels all the time. It's like, why Finland's the happiest country in the world. Yeah. Like, and she's so cute. She'll talk about, you know, how kids go to school, or like how families interact, or like little like cultural things that they do that are just unique to there. So I'll be really interested. I want to try and just get a grip on that too, because I'm like, you hear about it all the time. It's like, why are these countries so happy? Right. And I know a lot of it has to do with like government and working conditions and things. Like, they actually are pretty satisfied from what I know.
With their government?
Yeah, it's a concept. I mean, as far as what her videos say,
right?
But I'll, I just want to go and I want to learn, and I'll report back, because I think it's really cool to be able to share the knowledge that you accumulate along the journey. So I'm excited.
It's so north.
And the Northern Lights have been on my bucket list for years. Like, I don't know what my fascination is with them. I need to see them before I die.
Yes.
And
100%. I think that's a bucket list thing for a lot of people, I feel. It's just not anything that you can find, like, other than, like, maybe a meteor shower, or, like, this planet is going to be super visible. And you are someone with such a fascination with the night sky. I think it's going to be, like, such a spiritually, like, fulfilling moment for you.
Yeah, I'm sure I will cry. Because it's magical. Like, but it's not even manufactured magic. It's, like, just the earth and creation existing in front of your face. And it's, like, so incomprehensible to the human brain.
It's magical, but it's normal.
Yeah, it's natural.
It's not,
like,
right, because if we've seen anything like even akin to that, it's like World of Color or something.
I know. That's what I was thinking.
You're gonna be looking at it like, oh, this is not a light show. Yeah, this is nature.
Yeah, I think that's really, really cool. But so that's the itinerary.
I'm just looking at the map still,
and I know it's cool.
So north.
It's so north. And of course we're going there in January, which I know is literally insane, but I've got my vitamin C and my zinc packed up. I've got my hand warmers, my thermal clothing, like many layers. Yeah. So, and then worst case scenario, if it's too darn cold, then you just stay inside and you stay cozy, have tea, watch movies, and just go out when you need to.
Do you know, like, in Fahrenheit, just because most people listening probably use Fahrenheit, like what the average temperature is that time of year?
Let me
look it up. The average lows and highs. That is another level.
Yeah.
That sauna is going to be amazing. You're going to live in it.
I know. Well, it's so funny because most of the Airbnbs do have saunas. And at first we did book one that didn't. Mm-hmm. And then we found one that was literally like the same price. And we're like, well, it's a
might
no-brainer.
As well.
I know.
Steven's going to be taking work calls in there. Like, hold on.
I know. Hold on. Let me just get into the sauna real quick. I mean... See, and this is no, but this is like almost seems I expected worse. It says the high is 18 degrees and the low is 4.
Oh my god.
Well, I expected it to be negative.
I did too.
Which is still, I mean, it's still possible. So
it's still possible.
Yeah. I mean, Lapland is like the main area that Rovaniemi is in.
I've heard about Lapland. Do you want to know from whom?
Who?
From a contestant on the Great British Bake Off.
Of course.
There was Cookie Week, and he made like a...
Who?
It was an old season. It was like season 4 or something. And he made like a representation of... He just like went and visited Lapland. They're talking about Lapland. And I'm like, what is Lapland?
Yeah. Like, I know it's like that main northern area. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, these say like -13. Oh, I don't know.
I mean, it's probably going to be so beautiful though.
Yeah.
With the snow.
Yeah.
Because my issue with the cold is the cold, gray, ugly of winter. If there is snow, my sister and I were talking about this the other day. If there's snow on all the trees and everything, it looks like winter wonderland pretty. Winter is so much more bearable.
Yeah.
But it's when you look outside and you know it's freezing out, but it's also just like gray. There's nothing on the trees. The sky is one like monotonous color.
Yep.
And there's just like nothing.
Yeah.
It just looks like a barren wasteland out there. That is what really messes with my like seasonal depression.
Yeah, I totally like have always said that too. The snow just does make it better. The gray is what is the difficult part of winter.
I'm looking up the average Buffalo temperatures, highs and lows for January, so we can compare.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's what Google says, but I have a feeling it's colder than
average daily high 32, average daily low 19. So like
our
half. Lows are the highs in Finland.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not that bad.
I think we'll be able to manage. I mean, we're definitely prepared as best we can be, and then if we are not, then I'm sure they will be selling warm thermal clothing. So I mean, their people seem to be happy enough, so they probably are not freezing.
I was going to say their blood's probably thicker.
That too. I know mine's not the best.
Climatize,
you know,
and adjust.
But,
I would be terrible.
Yeah, I get really cold really easily. But then again, it's like one of those life experience things. It's like, okay, the opportunity's here. Like, I'm going to just do it. It's 1 month of my life. I think we're going to make so many amazing, like, memories.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the surprises and delights of the whole thing are, like, the reason I travel anyway. Mm-hmm. And that I love to, and I'm so grateful to do. So, like, whatever the climate is... Honestly, I think this is actually going to be easier for me
than Sicily in July.
Because because getting too hot makes me feel really sick, whereas like cold, at least like I don't know, I can go inside and like thaw out.
Right.
But like when I'm hot, I just feel really woozy.
I'm sure it's going to be a lot easier to get warm in Finland than it is to get cool in Sicily.
Yeah, that's true.
So that was my like thought.
Yeah.
About it. Also, good point. Temperature is not a reason to not experience something. Like it's not like you're being banished there for the rest of time. Right. Like you're going for a month. It's going to be amazing. You'll be chilly, but you've got your love to keep you warm.
Yeah, that's so true. I'm so excited. Yeah, definitely keep connected on the socials. I'll be posting a lot of things. So excited. I'm like, I know last time I was talking about my social media detox. I feel like I've had a rejuvenation.
Yeah.
Like I just took the time away and now I'm like very creatively inspired, like very excited, have a million ideas. Like it's just so funny how that happens. Like sometimes you almost just need to take a breather and then you're like reset.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to just like whatever comes out of that. So that'll be really fun.
Just be present.
Yeah. So that'll be fun.
We'll all be here.
Very excited. Yeah, and I don't know what's going to happen after the 3rd month. I mean, we've talked about doing like a long phase again, like phase 1 was. Right. So hopefully that will be, something that we can do. But
well, there's no point coming back to Buffalo in February.
That is so true.
There's might as well go nothing going on here in February.
Yeah, so we'll have to leave Europe at that time because you can only stay 90 days in the Schengen area. So it would have to be outside of the main European countries. So
Scandinavia is still technically the EU, including what? Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Finland, Estonia?
I think so. Yeah, it's really the majority. It's easier to say which ones are not.
Right, than which ones are.
Like the UK is not, Ireland is not, and then there's a few Eastern European countries. I think Bulgaria is one. I think Turkey is one. Like there's very it's very few and specific. Croatia used to not be one, which was like a hidden treasure and gem, but they just joined it, which
bummer.
I know, it's such a bummer because I would just go live in Croatia for the whole like
3 months.
Yeah,
like,
whatever.
Wait it out.
Oh my gosh, it was such a dream. That's still like,
would you go back to the UK or?
I don't know. Stay tuned.
Okay, so this isn't something we're speculating yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
We'll see.
Is this something we're speculating, just not publicly?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
But now we're...
All right.
It could be, or it could be just like a total out of left field place. So stay tuned.
Okay.
We'd love to do like 3 months in, 3 months out, then 3 months back in.
Okay.
Like we did for phase 1.
Okay.
Which would be really cool. There's just so much to see in the Schengen area.
Yeah.
Like it's so much fun. But, you know, you definitely have to be really strategic with it. I think I've talked about this before, but essentially on your traveler's visa, you can stay 90 days within the Schengen area or you can stay 90 days within 180 days. So it's like 90 days in, 90 days out, just so you're not like, you know, going back to back or anything. So, and Schengen areas, again, majority of European countries. So you just have to plan it.
Why is it called that? Am I stupid? Like, why don't I know this?
I don't actually know. I just am like, oh, that's the name.
Interesting.
Should probably look it up, but there's a lot of research that needs to be done during this episode. But I know. I think that's like one of the trickiest parts too is like I love like obviously I love sharing all the stuff we're like traveling and doing and stuff. There's so much to remember, and like when you're one person with one brain, it's like I always feel so bad when I like mispronounce things or like get something inaccurate because like I'm trying so hard and it is so hard to learn everything.
It's okay. You're a person.
Yeah, so
it's okay.
It's just you do your best. You really do.
You're literally having to relearn how to live in a completely different country every month.
Yeah, month to month. Which is just like your brain like lapses, which is I'm not complaining at all. I'm very, very thankful, but it's like I just don't ever want to like seem like I'm not trying because I am. It's just so much to remember.
Yeah. I mean, think about like moving somewhere new. Like, okay, I have to learn the new route to work and where like my grocery store is and where's the post office and like all those little things about living somewhere. Well, then you have to learn that every 30 days and the roads are not in English or the you know, the cultural differences are so, you know, apparent and the pronunciation,
like the way that you say A is different in all different languages.
Right.
Like, and not just one letter.
So it's like learning all of that day-to-day like pragmatic stuff and then having to learn cultural elements and language elements all on top of that. It's a lot. It's a big undertaking.
Yeah, but it's one that, you know, I love doing. It's just, you know, that's why I'm just upfront. That's like we're all trying our best out here.
Yeah.
So
no criticism, judgment, or otherwise.
Yeah. So, but
I'm just curious about everything.
I know. Well, I am too. Like, and I'm so excited to like go out there and explore it and like report back. Like, I love it. I feel like Samantha Brown or like Stacy.
You kind of are.
I love that.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like that just.
You're the millennial version of both of them.
I feel like that was just like a very seamless transition, you know, as you get older.
Feels inevitable.
Yeah, but another big thing is I decided with phase 2, and I will have shared this by now once this episode comes out, but I also chopped all my hair off.
Yes, she did.
Which is insane to me. I cannot believe I actually did that. I literally have never had my hair this short before.
It's so cute, you guys.
Thank you. And because I cut it when I was like 15 years old, and I hated it. I was like, oh, I don't like how I look. I don't like it. Like, I'm getting long hair forever. And I was like, I'm never cutting my hair ever. So my whole 20s, I didn't. But and when I was in Orlando, I was being all cute and like out all the time. And like, you know, you do your hair. Like, I did my hair all the time in Orlando. Like, it was always wanded. It was always straightened or like styled or whatever. And I don't know, since the pandemic, and like I'm kind of in my like cozy relationship mode where it's like I don't need to be like, you know,
right? No, it's so
hot
true.
on the town all the time. Like,
I know.
I just kind of was like, my hair, I love it, and I still love it.
Mine's falling out,
but
not my hair clip. Just to clarify.
And I still loved it, but I was like, you know, I'm not doing anything with it,
right?
And I have always wanted to donate it, but I was always too scared to cut my hair. And I was like, if I'm ever going to do that, what better time than right now when I just turned 30, going on phase 2, and then my hair won't get caught in all my winter jackets and stuff. Like, that's always really difficult. Long hair girlies, you know, like, it's not easy to like wear all those layers and then like figure out where to
and then your hair gets like staticky and
well, the tangles too, it just was like
the wind
gets so tangly. So I don't know, this is a new venture for me. I feel very different.
This is why I had the frump do throughout all of high school.
Right?
Y'all had, well, not everyone made fun of me, some people did. It was really just practical because wind is a nightmare when you have long hair, especially like my hair is naturally fairly straight, so those tangles are just a nightmare, and you can't carry them off like you can with curly hair. If you have any sort of like lip balm, lip gloss, anything that is not like completely matte on your lips, and the wind blows your hair onto your face, it is getting stuck in your lips, and then that greasiness is on your hair. It gets staticky from being like in a hat or with your hood up on your coat, and then you take it down and it's all like dry. It's just, I think that's the way to go for the travel and the cold. Like, put on a hat, it's there, it's short, it's cute though. Like, I think my sister said that to you, but she was like, your hair is so thick, like you don't need to style it to have it short. Like, if you have thinner hair or if like fine textured hair, if you have short hair, you have to style it every day or it's gonna look like weird and like maybe limp or like flip out certain ways. But yours, like, you could literally just wake up and go, like, brush it and go.
We love that.
And amazing, like, low maintenance. So
it is really like, I forget how thick it is, because like
it is
at the ends, it just like,
it looks so healthy. It's so shiny. Thank you. It's so cute.
Thanks. This is really crazy for me. And I know it's just hair, right? Like, it's just it's just hair, but I really do, like, people always say that you hold so much in your hair, like your memories and your past years and stuff. It's like, when was that hair from? Like, that had grown out? Like, was it from the mold era? Was it from
from my mold
the era? Disney era? From like,
was it from high school?
Like, who even knows? Like, it's just, it's insane to me. And I feel lighter. Like, I feel like I just like released so much past in that chop. But I don't know, it's just, it's a new chapter, and I probably will just, you know, grow it out again, because like, I love my long hair, but also I could end up really thinking this is convenient and like sticking with it. Like, who knows? Like, I don't know, I always think too, when like people become moms, like, long hair is probably not really that practical.
Right? You're putting in a ponytail every day.
Which is fine. And like, I definitely was doing ponytails all the time, but I don't know, maybe short hair is the move. We'll see. I'm enjoying it right now, though. It'll be cute with my little beanies in you know, Finland.
It's gonna be so cute, and it'll grow. It'll grow, and especially if you're eating all that salmon in Finland, it's gonna grow so healthy and strong. It's gonna be great. I love it. I think it's so cute.
So
I'm a big fan.
Big changes happening. I can't believe I turned 30, went skydiving, and cut off my hair. Like, that's amazing. That's literally insane.
Maybe you're in your 1989 era.
Literally. I think I am. I think God, it comes out tomorrow.
That's amazing.
But yeah, if you would have told me that even last year at this time, I'd be like, no freaking way. Like, there's just no way any of that would happen. But who knows what other magical things can happen.
Because you're open to it all.
I think that's like my approach to life now. It's just like being open to things and accepting them is just been so life-changing. Like I'm trying to just untangle resistance from any angle and just being like, this is not, I listened to this in a Michael Singer podcast this morning, and he explained, he's like, you're in this universe that is not yours. Like it's just this world that's operating. It operates with you, or it would operate without you. You're just here to experience it and observe it. So like we get all upset when things don't go the way that we think they should go in our minds. But like the reality is like we have no control over it anyway. So like the more that you can just like accept it and be open to anything. Yeah. Like you can see such amazing and magical things like happen before your eyes all the time. But like sometimes we just don't even see it. So all that to say, I just like, I want to take this approach of just openness to life and just seeing what comes of that, because I think there's just so much out of our control, but so many like amazing things that are out there, you know.
And what a great mindset to have right before you embark on phase 2. Yeah. Because inevitably with travel, like things don't always go the way you plan. Things get delayed, luggage gets, God forbid, lost. Like little things happen, disruptions happen. I think the reason, and I'm sure we've talked about this, a lot of people get stressed out, including myself, when they travel is because they have an expectation, like a very specific expectation or set of expectations about how it's going to go and what they want to get out of it. Because when you only get like a week of vacation a year, it's like, okay, I have to relax, but I also have to make memories, and I have to have fun, but I want to sleep in, and I have to connect with people, but I also want alone time. And like you have this impossible slew of expectations and desires, and you can't possibly attain them all. So then at the end of the vacation, you're tired, you're poor, and you're unsatisfied. And instead of just like, you know, something fun comes up, like, oh, maybe we want to do that today. Okay, like, forget this plan. Like, tear up the spreadsheet. Let's go do that. I think I end up having so much more fun on a trip when I don't plan too much.
Yeah. And I think you could really just take that whole concept and apply it to life, too. Because, like, having a plan, quote unquote, for your trip or an itinerary, like, could be your 10-year plan or something. Yeah. And it's like you can spend those 10 years like just clinging to that one idea of like, oh, I need to do that. But like there's all these other opportunities coming up that are really super fulfilling and like contributing to your growth, and you don't even like recognize how much like richness and like fulfillment is there because you're focused on that thing.
Yeah. Or it's year 8 and you're kicking yourself because you're like, my time's almost up and I didn't do this thing. And then around you, all of these other amazing things that weren't maybe part of like the written plan are happening, and you're missing them, or you're undervaluing them or taking them for granted, or, you know, just not appreciating them or being present in them because you're focused on this other thing that you think you're supposed to want.
Yeah. Oh my God. Like undervaluing what you have is so, like I did that so much in my 20s and not consciously. Like I never would have like intentionally done that, but like I was just like, oh, well, I need to be here. I should be doing this. And it's like, what about everything that's happening? Like this is so beautiful, and like you're just blind to the fact that like you haven't achieved this goal, quote unquote. So that's why it does get really tricky sometimes, I think, with goal setting and even like manifesting and things like that, because like I think they're amazing to do. I think they're great practices, and like I think it's really important to set intentions, but like if you don't do the detachment piece, you're like you're missing the whole point of everything, because I think the fun and the magic of life comes from the surprise and delight. Yep. And there is no room for that when there's just rigid attachment and expectation.
All work and no play.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think just having that open to receive mode and that surrender mode, and like all of those like juicy things we talk about, but also like are learning too. Like I don't think anybody's, you know,
done
coming out of
no
nobody is like coming out of the womb being like, I'm great at being open to life. Like you kind of have to go through like the polarity of the situations to understand like where the magic comes from, or else you wouldn't really like get the full, like, exciting experience of it.
Yeah, and the cultural context we reside in is not conducive to that. The narrative is the opposite. It's like, you need to have a plan.
Yeah.
You need to set a goal. You need to work relentlessly to achieve that goal. If you are not working, you're lazy. Like, all of these narratives that are told to us from a very young age. I saw a thing the other day, and it was like a mom perspective. Like, I'm literally teaching my child to sacrifice sleep and relationships for relentless work, and that tiredness is a good thing. Like, exhaustion is a good thing, and it means you're working hard, and if you're not exhausted, you should be working harder. And not only am I teaching them this by, like, putting them into this system, I'm teaching them this by my example, because I am exhausted, and I am showing them, you know, my, like, be myself at the end of my rope. Like, I am losing my temper or being short with them because I am tired, because I'm trying to do 16 different things, and all they really need me to do is be here with them.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And I was like, oh, whoa. And I'm like, I'm even watching, you know, I had a conversation with my mom recently. She is working way more than full time. She loves her job, and she's dedicated to her students, and I think, like, what she's doing is absolutely, like, a calling of hers. Like, she is incredible at it. However, she is working on Sundays. She is working on Saturdays. She is working till 10 o'clock at night. She is only working, and if there's time for anything else, she's squeezing in her life around her work.
Yeah.
And so we're talking about my situation and her situation and how polar opposite they are right now, because I am literally looking for that. Even though I know I don't want that, I'm supposed to be looking for it and hoping that it doesn't turn into that. We're both having this just circuitous conversation where we're both realizing, like, oh, we're just in a hamster wheel. Like, I was literally like, Mom, it's a hamster wheel. You just go and go and go and go and go until you die.
Yeah.
And I don't want it.
I don't want to live like that.
No.
And I just think the only way that we can change it, like that example about the mom teaching her child is amazing. And I think, like, yes, let's be really conscious of that when we do have kids in the picture. But before we do, in this now time, like, how do we start, like, teaching ourselves that? Like, we almost, like, even if you go to the concept of teaching your inner child that, like, I think that rewiring that perspective is so important, because I think when you do have a calling, it's so fun, and it's, like, exciting, and, like, you're doing work that's fulfilling, and, like, whether your thing is, like, helping people or creating something, or, you know, sparking in a new idea into the world, or maybe you really love numbers, or you love writing, like, whatever it is, like, or literally anything. If that's your thing, like, doing work can be really fun, right? And I think that we all have those specific desires and goals and interests and, like, sparks, because I think we're all supposed to, because if we didn't, like, the world wouldn't function the way that it does. Like, we need people to be good at all different things and, like, excited about different things. I think where it does get sticky is when it, like, turns into people, like, getting really burned out from what they're doing, and it's not people's fault. Like, I do think that something in the system is,
there's so much pressure,
not something in the system. The system is not set up for success, and it's scary.
Not in that way.
No, and it is scary, because it's like, okay, we have to think about survival. We have to think about, you know, finances. We have to think about functionality. But I think, like, getting away from, like, the noise of everything and, like, really focusing on the here and now and, like, your own little bubble of what you can do is, like, it has to be, like, an internal change that reflects out and ripples out, like, from your own home, from your own mind. I think your mind is really, like, the first place to start it. And I think that acceptance piece is really good. And, like, I feel like I'm always like, oh, the system sucks, the system, and I'm like, but that's just creating more resistance to something that's really resistant. I'm like, this isn't helping anything. So, yeah, I mean,
the system's not going to get you off the hamster wheel.
Right.
You
like,
have to do it yourself.
Yeah, well, complaining about the system, it doesn't, like, fix everything. So, actually, did you ever read Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill?
No.
This book is insane.
Show notes.
Yes, this book is insane. So, it talks about how you're, like, our fear and, like, our drifting through life, like, because of the systems that are in place, like, it keeps us, that's like the devil, quote unquote. Like it's personified, like all of those negative, like heavy things that keep us like shielded from seeing, you know, the lightness is like the devil. And the author wrote this book in 1938.
Oh my God.
It was not published until 2011.
Oh my God.
Because it was too controversial for the times, because it does talk about how school's a system and religion systems and stuff. So back then it was like absolutely radical. Not. It was radical. And at the end, it's like he does this like conversation between him and the devil, so like the like negative aspects of life. And it's really cool because he like talks to this personified version of it, and it's just like so revealing. It's like, oh yeah, you guys don't see the reality, so I can keep you underneath this like not spell, but like underneath this
sort of like haze,
yeah,
like a fog,
haze. Yeah. And it's like I think the term they use is like you're drifting, like you're just a drifter in life, and you're not like paying attention to like you could get out of this if you were just more, you know, a little bit more tuned in, or you're more conscious and you're seeing things clearly. And I was just reading this book and I was like, holy shit, like this is insane. It's literally insane. I think if you read it, you would be like, oh my God.
I literally just texted it to myself. I'll put it in the show notes, but I'm a library girly now, so.
Oh my God, love. But yeah, no, basically like the author's family didn't want him to publish it.
Wow.
His wife was like, absolutely do not publish this. This is too extreme. They waited until after she died and then they published it.
Nice.
Because it was too controversial. But it's insane because it was written in 1938,
but it's
poignant. So relevant today in 2023. And I'm like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So that's a big recommendation. I think that book was really, really enlightening.
Yeah.
Because it gives a new perspective, and it's just a wake up call book. It's like, oh my God, this is so obvious,
right?
But we're so like under the trance of it all.
And so. I keep hearing the like, well, when I have time, and I'm like, I don't think you're gonna get time like in the mailbox. I don't think it's gonna arrive on your doorstep like Amazon Prime. Like I'm pretty sure you just have to make it or take it back.
Yeah,
and like. I'm looking back now at what happened in June when I got laid off, and I remember for several months leading up to that thinking like, I don't have any time. Like, I'm not able to be present in this thing. Like, I think I accidentally manifested getting laid off. I'm not kidding. And it's so funny because you think about manifesting and like only manifesting things that are like inherently positive, or that like
you manifest everything.
Seem like such a gift, like such an overwhelming yes thing at the time. Like, I think I accidentally manifested getting laid off because I was very burned out, and I was giving way more time to a job that was not appreciated that time, or was not respecting the boundaries and all of those things that so many of us have gone through. And I think I was just like, how do I figure out how to do this? Like, how do I figure out how to get this time back? How do I figure out how to set these boundaries that I don't know how to set? All of these things, I think I just manifested getting laid off.
Yeah. Well, and then with that information, though, it's like, I think the universe is like, okay, so you manifested this. Great. So, like, what are you learning from that?
Right.
So it's like, either you can get back on a hamster wheel, or you can, like, figure out something else that, like, works better for you to, like, up level. And yeah, I mean, that's the thing with manifesting is, and like, you can't blame yourself for like, you can't even call them bad things though, because everything's inherently neutral, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's all about your up leveling growth. The only reason that it's quote unquote negative is because of our perception and like how we give it meaning.
Right.
We're like, oh, it's bad. It's not really bad. It's just a thing that happened.
Yeah.
Like, you had something and then you don't have something, but like, you're still you. And that's the tricky thing. So it's like, even when, you know, not so great things happen based on like human judgment, like, yeah, it's kind of is coming from a place. Like, I know I manifested getting laid off during COVID and stuff too, but like, not intentionally.
Right.
I didn't want to.
I wasn't like, please let me get laid off from my job.
But it's
my financial security. Would love for that to go flying out the window.
Right. Well, it's really weird though, because it's like your subconscious mind is doing that, and like, we operate from 95% of our subconscious. So it's like, okay, there's so many things and so many beliefs that I don't see, but that's what's running. So like, the more that you can become aware of those and do that work, the more you're gonna kind of shift things. And
you know, we're human. It's not going to be perfect, but yeah, it is really interesting. Yeah. And like, it's cool that you can recognize that though and like be at peace with it and be like, oh yeah, I did do that. But like, you're able to pick apart like, oh, there were some things that like I didn't really love in that situation. Yeah. So I'm like, your awareness is going to be key to like transforming what you do next, or like manifesting your next thing.
Yeah. And I was aware of them at the time, but I think that those were also the things that helped me to stay neutral about it when it happened. Like you said, the subconscious stuff running in the background, like my subconscious doesn't care about bills or money or financial security. The machine that I live in requires those things of me, but like the most innate parts of me as a human being, like that doesn't actually matter at all. So yeah, it's interesting to have to like reconcile with both of those sides. And again, it's helped me to stay neutral about it. But having that conversation with my mom where we both realized like we were both in seemingly impossible situations. She's envious of my time and I'm envious of her security.
Yeah.
But the only way to have both of those things is to be caught in this impossible circumstance that we both despise. And I'm like, this is so interesting.
So there has to be another way.
Right, exactly. And that's like
immediately
where my brain goes. Because if this whole situation has taught me anything, it's that I am a problem solver. And this is such an Enneagram 1 thing of me. But like, I'm just going to find another way around it. Mm-hmm. And people always like, well, you can't have it both ways. You can't have this and that. You just have to do something.
Yeah.
Like, well, why? Why can't I have it both ways? If I want it both ways, I'm going to have it both ways. Damn it.
Yeah. And for your subconscious too, maybe you can rephrase that to be like solution finder.
Yeah.
Because
right.
I feel like too with our subconscious, like whenever we say something that's like the negative, even though we mean it to be the positive, right. Like I'm not sad or something, it's like, oh, I am sad. Like it just hears
right.
sad.
And when you hear problem,
it's like, oh, problem, yeah. Challenge, hard, difficult.
I think,
and it's like, oh, well, what if we use words like easy,
circumstance,
solution, circumstance,
even something neutral.
Neutral is so good.
Yeah, I've been using the word circumstance a lot, and I think that's been helpful because it's super neutral. Like a circumstance could be I'm stuck in traffic, or a circumstance could be I'm waiting for my dinner to be ready. Like it's such a benign word. It's not challenge. It's not difficulty. It's not like, problem. It's
when I did like brain retraining for like medical stuff, like trying to help with that, they said to use, instead of saying I'm in pain, it was like I'm experiencing a sensation.
Yeah.
Because sensation is like just kind of like more neutral.
Right.
Than pain is
could
like,
be good or bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Like visualizing internally like what pain looks like and feels like versus sensation. It's like a lot lighter, you know?
Just like, oh, this is happening.
Yeah. It's like, oh, it's okay. I'm like feeling a thing, but like it's not necessarily good or bad.
It's just a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is exciting to know, like, there are other options. Like, there's a billion options of things you can do in this world. Like, it's literally an abundant amount that, like, you can't even put a number on. And, like, if other people are doing it, that means it exists. So, like, you could do it too.
Right.
Even if other people aren't doing something that you want to do, it still means you could do it too. Like, you can literally do anything.
Right.
Which is so exciting and so cool.
Yeah.
To, you know... And I love that for you guys, like, even though it's, like, a really difficult realization to come to, and you're like, oh, my God, like, I can't believe I'm in this situation. Like, those light bulb moments of, oh, this could be different is, like, where you're going to have a shift.
Yeah, and I think we are in dichotomous situations right now. Again, like, she is the security, I have the time. She's financially sound, I am time sound. But we are not, she has no time, I have no money. So she and I are seeing these circumstances from, like, opposite sides of the same coin, kind of. And I'm having so much empathy for it. And the fact that she never felt like she could teach us anything else because the system is the system. And, like, if I don't prepare my children, they're going to get eaten up by the system. They need to at least be able to, like, work the system. Like, I remember the narrative for, like, the female child coming from, you know, a boomer woman who made her own way in this world and has been single for a lot of her adult life was, you need to be able to take care of yourself and support yourself. Choose something to do. Get an education. Whatever it is, you can take care of yourself, and that way you won't have to rely on somebody else, and your circumstances won't be dependent on somebody else's.
Right.
You can create your own happiness and your own security in this world.
Right.
And I think that was her equivalent of what we're trying to do now by saying, like, okay, what if these circumstances can also be something that allows you to experience life and not just be on the hamster wheel until you die. Right. That's like the kind of revolution that we're going through right now.
Yeah, I think our generation's really going through that because everyone always, it's like, oh, these millennials, they just want to do things that, you know, that are fun or whatever. Like the generation, these Gen Z doesn't want to work. Right. No, they just don't want to be in this fucking system anymore. That's like, that's literally burning people out. Right. That's causing major mental illness, that's causing physical illness. Right. Like, we could go on and on. Like, people are just not well. Yeah. It's not supportive. But again, like, I'm like catching myself. I'm like, okay, here I am complaining about the system. So like, what do you actually do about that?
Right. And I think her version of that was, you know, maybe her parents' generation being like, why don't you just marry a nice rich man and then you won't have to work? To her, freedom was the ability to get an education, to be taken seriously, to do something, and to provide for herself so that she could create her own life and not be reliant on somebody else or, you know, have her life dictated by their terms. And so I think she had to figure out a way around that, and she did. And now we're trying to figure out a way around
the next step level.
Which
is cool. And like, I think that's really something special too to note is like, when you look back on even just a few generations ago, like every generation, like the next person in line of the family gets a little bit more freedom and a little bit more, you know, they get to do those up levels and get to evolve.
More perspective,
more awareness, more consciousness. And I think that's the, you know, natural progression of why our like ancestors have worked so hard for things, and like why I want to continue to work so hard to like create that better life for my kids, and like physically work, but also like internal work. Like I think that's almost more important, is just like not passing along the generational like trauma and wounds that just are so like unconsciously passed down.
But I think that's a great way to look at it, and it's because it helps cultivate some empathy, like this. Yeah. You know, especially, honestly, Thanksgiving is coming up. This is probably a really good conversation to be having going into Thanksgiving, because what isn't Thanksgiving notorious for? Fights about politics and, oh, you're not married yet? Oh, you don't have kids yet? Like all of these questions from, you know, quasi-distant relatives who think that they should have an opinion about where you're at in life. Yeah. And I think looking at it as this, like, you know, you walked so I could run, right? Like my mom put in that work so that I would be free to contemplate these things. Yeah. She bridged that gap between like a woman couldn't even live alone to living alone, earning her own living, traveling on her own, doing all those things, so that I would have the freedom to imagine all of those things for myself and take it a step further. Yeah. So then when Aunt whoever is like, oh, you're not married, or you're not doing this, or oh, you still haven't found a job. No, because I was raised to believe that, you know, my dreams were possible, or that I could create the life of my own imagining. I just had to think outside the box, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just thinking outside the box. I'm just trying to take all of the things that I was taught and learned, and all of the growing that I've been doing, and package it all up into something that looks like my life. Yeah. That's what I'm working on. Yeah. And that's vague enough to maybe assuage any follow-up questions, but also specific enough to let them know that you hear them and that you're not entertaining any more judgment or unsolicited opinions.
Yeah. It's just so silly because, like, we're all going to be dead someday.
I know.
Like, I think that's, like...
I said that the other day.
We say that all the time, and not in a morbid way, but in a way of, like, we're all gonna be dead someday, so like do whatever the fuck you want right now, because like nobody's going to really
like an extent
or remember. Yeah, I mean, like, as long as everyone is in good health and good, like
take care of yourself.
Yeah, take care of yourself
so you can have a long life, but
but like
your life will end.
Yeah, and I just think that
like all of these like fake check marks of life that you're supposed to hit, and these things you're supposed to do, and this typical path you're supposed to take is just not real. It's just not. I just like, and I will just die on that hill because like I realized it at that most integral part of life when I was leaving high school going into college, and I felt so shell shocked by like feeling like everything just felt so weird and like not authentically me anymore. And I was like, what is this?
Yeah. I had that exact experience and feeling just 2 years later.
It was very weird. It was something that like I've really worked through it a lot, like energetically, and it's still in there. It's like I gotta keep working on that one, but I think there's something to be said for paving your own path. Yep. I think it's the most empowering thing you can really do, and it's something that like is exciting. Like, yes, it may be scary, yes, it is new, but like there's so much potential in there, and it doesn't even need to be extraordinary. It can just be like looking around and appreciating like what you did.
Yeah, and I think the most efficient way to pave your own path is to look around at your circumstances and say, oh, this is my alternative. And if you're miserable in your circumstances, then paving your own path seems relatively easy. Maybe it's not going to be easy and the road's going to be long and bumpy, but if the alternative is staying here where I feel stuck and caught in a fog and like nothing makes sense around me and like I'm out of my own body, I'm definitely out of my element, then like I know I'm not supposed to be here. And that's how I felt my whole freshman year of college. I felt like I was in a weird time warp. Like I was in, I don't know, some like grayscale movie of my life that I somehow got like dumped in, and I was like, where am I? I feel like I'm living this every day. Like,
well, you know what's really interesting about that too is you said that you started to like enjoy and appreciate the things that you had, like because you knew like, oh, I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna move on to like this next thing. Yeah, which I think is really important to note, because like regardless of if you have that checkpoint in place, because a lot of times you're not going to have that, right? You're not going to get this acceptance letter that's going to be like, your next step is this on January 5th or whatever. Right. Sometimes you just have to like put all your trust into that, like knowing that your desires, if you have them, they're meant for you. If that is something you can envision, that's something that you can experience. Like just putting all your trust there and literally getting into that space of appreciation where you are. Because yes, it's easy to like live in that like grayscale depressive type environment. It's easier. Read Outwitting the Devil. It says it. It's literally easier to do. But when you can like get all cozy with it, when you can appreciate it and like find the little things, you are going to get to that next step faster and easier. And you actually might even start to miss things from before.
That's exactly what happens.
Yeah, because you're like, oh, this actually really wasn't that bad. Like, it was really fun. Yep. Because you're not actually wanting the thing. You're wanting the feeling that the thing gives you. Yep. And I think that was a big awakening moment for me. I'm like, oh, I don't actually need to be living at Disney. I just want to feel like I belong and feel like I have a community and feel like I have fun activities to do. Like I feel excited. Like that's what I wanted. I thought like Disney was that, but like it isn't always that. No. It's just a place and a thing and a whatever. But like that's what I wanted to experience by going there. And I'm grateful that I did, because it did generate those feelings, but then after a while it kind of faded. Yeah. And then you're like, okay, on to the next thing. Right. And then I'm seeking another feeling. So the more you can kind of cultivate those feelings where you are, even on a really small scale, right, the more you're going to like keep progressing forward, which I think is a big revelation.
Yeah. And I remember having moments like, even when I moved back here and was here for a lot of the pandemic and then moved back again, I remember having this nostalgia for everything I was leaving behind. And even my like teeny tiny little apartment. I loved that apartment so much. I remember being so sad when I was packing it up. I mean, even now, like I'll drive by it when I'm here again and I'm like, oh, I miss you. Like I have so many good memories there. And I appreciate all of those little seasons, whether I mark them by like an era, or I mark them by where I was living or what I was doing at the time. It's easy when like you've worked for Disney to be like my college program or my this or whatever. Like you have sort of these like role milestones or whatever they are.
Totally.
Yep.
Totally.
I have nostalgia for every single one of them. I have like so much love for like the version of me that I was in every single one of those circumstances. So I'm trying to be in this phase of my life having that much empathy and nostalgia. Like it's weird to think about nostalgia as a present tense feeling because it feels so reminiscent in past tense.
Yeah.
But I'm literally trying to like look around and embody nostalgia in a present tense setting because I know like when the leaves are all done falling off the trees, I will miss them.
Yeah.
And so I'm missing them now. Like whenever Anthony and I are about to say goodbye to each other and do the distance thing or whatever, I'm like, I miss you already. And he's like, I'm right here. I'm like, I know, but I know how I feel right now when I'm with you. And I miss that already. So I'm being nostalgic now.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make later any easier. It just helps me to appreciate now because it's like the whole absence makes the heart grow fonder concept. Mm-hmm. What if you could feel that way every day? Then you would appreciate your circumstances so much more when you're actually in them instead of missing them because you're looking forward to something else or not appreciating them until you look back.
Right.
And so I guess my follow-up is thinking about Thanksgiving and like people interacting with relatives they don't normally see and maybe being interrogated. How do you navigate? And maybe let's assume it's a relative you actually love and care about and respect and not just some like Joe Schmo you see every 6 years who's like butting in where they don't belong. Because then you can give the short answer and be like, okay. But it's someone who you know loves you and cares about you and has your best interest at heart. And they say to you like, okay, well, what's your plan?
Yeah.
I've had that happen. How do you navigate like, hey, like, what are you going to do after you graduate? Or what are you going to do? Like, say, maybe someone was engaged and they broke up with their fiance. Or maybe they just graduated and they don't know what their next move is. Like, what do you do when somebody who cares about you says, what's your plan?
I was going to say champagne problems.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's great.
See, and this is a really good question because I know that the way that I handle it is not the way that, like, I think is the best way to handle it.
Yeah.
Like I downplay everything. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, I don't know. Yeah. Like when people would ask me, like when Steven and I were together for a year and a half or 2 years, like before we were really talking about like marriage seriously, because you know, for us that was early. Like we had just met, like whatever. But everyone has a different timeline.
Right.
It doesn't matter. But I would justify it. I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm, you know, the pandemic. Like, I don't know.
The pandemic scapegoat.
We don't know what we're doing.
Right.
We don't know. We don't have our own place. We don't have this. We don't have that. We don't have anything in place. Mm-hmm. Now it's been 4 years, almost, and we are still, like, in a very transient space. Mm-hmm. But, like, I feel more secure on the inside. But, again, I don't have that answer yet. Right. But, like, I'm like, I don't really need it. It's gonna come when it comes, you know what I mean? Like, but to like describe that to a family member is hard, especially when they're from a generation where you just like got married like that,
right?
You know, and I think that's difficult. So how would I approach it? Reflecting back on that, I actually still don't really know, because I think it's an uncomfortable situation, because I think like especially in those early days when I had more insecurity around like the direction life was going, like I lived in this space of I don't know for so long. People call me out on how much I say I don't know, and I hate it, but it's true. Like it's something that I've become conscious of. I'm like, damn it, like that's so annoying, but it's my scapegoat. Like it's easier to just say that, when like the reality is, oh, maybe I do know a lot more than I give myself credit for, but I like don't like to be wrong because it makes me feel like I become ashamed or embarrassed or whatever. So, yeah, I think with family members, it's difficult to navigate. I don't really have a good answer for it, because the thing that, like, I'm gravitating to is, like, okay, like, just kind of live in your own self. Like, be secure in, like, your own. And, like, know your path is your path. But it is hard, because I feel like those types of relationships are, like, in the system, if that makes sense. It's
no, they are.
Everyone's on like a conveyor belt of like, oh, when are you getting married? When are you having kids? When are you having another kid? When are you doing this?
Yep.
And it doesn't feel like a level like conversation, you know what I mean? Like how you and I would have.
Right.
It feels a little bit more surface level, and it doesn't mean like you don't love these people. But you have a different relationship with them that doesn't have as much depth. Yeah. So it's like hard to explain that. From my perspective too, it's like I almost want to get approval from people, but it's like, for what, you know?
Yes, I definitely resonate with that.
Yeah. That was an interesting one to dissect. I
didn't mean to catch you off guard. I was thinking about it because this kind of went in that direction, and I actually had this circumstance come up recently.
Yeah.
Where someone close to me who I know cares a lot about me and a lot about Anthony asked me this question, and this person is not a family member. I should say that. And it felt like a thing I needed to give a resolute answer to.
Yeah.
And the reality is I was like caught off guard and almost a little angry, because I was like, how can you expect me to tell you like what my plan is? How can I possibly have a plan? Like, none of these circumstances are in my control right now. Nothing about this situation is black and white. You're asking for a black and white answer to a question that is so convoluted and murky and a million shades of gray. I cannot possibly pluck any rhyme or reason from this pool of confusion. I can't. If I could, I absolutely would, because we are human beings and we thrive on structure, and we say we're okay with ambiguity because we want to be. We want to be spontaneous. We want to be open to everything, and maybe on some level we are, maybe some of us more than others, but at our very core, innately, it is human nature to need a semblance of structure, to need security, whether that's, you know, a person who's a constant, or a place to call home, or something that you can rely on to be there, to be steadfast for you. So in a season where a lot of things feel up in the air and outside of your control, for someone to ask you for something concrete feels like laughable.
Yeah.
It feels like an impossible ask. And so that was how I felt. I felt very like backed into a corner.
Yeah. And isn't it funny, these concepts, like, they're just asking a casual question, but it makes anything that's going on in our subconscious spiral.
Yep.
And I think on a level, like, okay, we have these reactions, right? I think the next up level, and that what I'm really trying to work on, is when I have those reactions, like, observing them and being like, what's going on here?
Right.
There's something going on here under the surface that, like, we are not aware of right now. And it's a pattern, it's a loop, it's a reaction, and it's a knee-jerk response. So, like, what's going on?
And for me, in that moment, I knew right away it's insecurity.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to this question, and I feel like I need to know the answer to this question, because I'm the one living with the insecurity that results from not having an answer to this question, not you, me.
Right.
So when you ask me for an answer to this question as if it is also causing you insecurity, then I feel double the pressure, because now I'm suddenly like, oh, are my circumstances and the insecurity of them affecting other people too? Oh no, that's a problem. Because if I'm suffering, I'll suffer. But if other people are suffering because of me, well, we cannot have that. That's going to cause me to spiral and feel guilt and shame and all those other things that I have been indoctrinated into. So I knew right away, like, observing that, like, okay, this is what's happening to me right now. And the reality was, there isn't an answer. There isn't a solution. So what do you say in those circumstances? I'm doing the best that I can. That seems feeble, you know, and I really, and maybe there is no answer, but I really was just like, I feel stuck. I don't know. And then I was like, how many other people deal with this? Because this is the first time in my life where there hasn't been a plan or an answer.
Yeah.
And so, and maybe some people go through this earlier in life or later in life, but this is the season of life that I'm in where there's no answer, and I have to be okay with that.
Yeah. I think it's just so much more common than we know.
And I think that just has to be okay. So I guess that's the answer. Like, if that's a question that comes up for anyone listening.
And it's happening right now. Like, I think that's the thing is, like, there's so many unseen forces and so much going on behind the scenes.
And there are people, like, I can say that to you, right? I can be like, Jess, like, yes. The universe is conspiring right now. Like, I know it. Like, when it was taking me a long time to find a job and you're like, it's a suspicious amount of time. And I'm like, so you get it, right? Like, you feel that too. But I can't say that to the boomers. Right. I can't be like, don't you think it's suspicious how long it's taking for me to find a job? They'll be like, or you're an idiot and no one wants to hire you. Like,
right, you're not hustling enough.
That's where their brain goes. You're not hustling. Are you doing so many people? Are you doing this? Are you cold calling people? Are you blah blah blah? I'm like, I'm basically doing everything but volunteering to sleep with the hiring manager at this point. Right. What else would you have me do?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And it's just so funny. But that's the thing, and I think that's where it does get a little difficult with like those surface level conversations. Like, I actually hate small talk at appointments. Yes. I hate like,
how are you?
How are you? Yep. Oh, well, I'm doing this. You tell somebody like, oh, I'm going to do this thing. And then they're like, what? How do you do that? Like, and then you kind of, it just gets really complicated. And see, and that's the thing is like, it's really funny because it's like, I don't even know how these things fall together when they do. They just do. Yeah. Right? Because you set the intention, you know, let the pieces fall into place, you put in the work where you need to, and then bam, like you move to the next step. Yep. And you move to the next step. But then, like, just talking about it in small talk, it just, like, doesn't make sense a lot of the time. And it makes me self-conscious, and I think that is something that I need to work on, too. Like, I feel overly self-conscious of explaining, like, certain things in my life to other people who, like, don't get it, but also, like, why?
I think small talk was invented for straight and narrow conversations about straight and narrow existences. Like, small talk is literally the type of conversation where you can compile the highlights or, you know, the headlines of your life for somebody you see infrequently. Yeah. When you have a life that, or you have circumstances that are atypical, you can't answer those questions with small talk. You can't expound. You can't say, oh, well, you know, we're traveling here, and then we've decided to do this and whatever. And I can't say, well, I live in Orlando and Anthony lives here. Like, I've had this so much recently where I'm having to answer these questions. You know, people are like, oh, we'll see you tomorrow. Whatever. I'm like, actually, I'm going back to Orlando. What? Oh, I live there. You do? Wait, what? You're here, but you live there? Yes, okay, so it's complicated. And I'm trying to, like, give them the 30-second Reader's Digest of my existence, and it's just impossible. And they end up looking, like, everyone gives me the same, like, okay. Yeah. Like, they're not judging. They're just confused. I don't blame you. It's confusing. My life is chaotic. How many times in the last few months have I said the words, my life is chaotic? And that's okay. I don't see it as a negative thing, but it is. It's chaos right now. I live there. He lives here. I'm back and forth. Everything's weird.
But it works.
It's sub-ideal, and we're taking it a day, a week, a month at a time, and we're figuring it out.
Well, the thing is, too, like, going back to the nostalgic part, like, you're going to look back on this time and be like, oh,
I already love it. Yeah. Again, it's chaos, but it's fun. I'm here, and I'm there, and I get to be in both places, and that's great for someone like me. And it is also exhausting and tiring, and living out of a suitcase, as you know, is 0% ideal. But I get to see my friends here regularly and my friends there regularly. I get to, like, live both lives right now.
Yeah. When I moved out of Orlando, I was like, oh, like, I'm just leaving. Like, and it doesn't really settle in until it's like 2.5 years later and you're listening to Lover, which you listened to in your house with your friends when you were all living together, and you're like, that's over. Yeah. It's over. And I love my life now. I've got the relationship I've always wanted. I see my family all of the time. Yeah. I travel the world, which was my dream back in those days. I would script about it in my journals night and day. But it's like, there's just, you don't want to fast forward through certain things. And, like, even though it is chaotic and it is, like, confusing and you don't have an answer, like, you don't need to have an answer. Just let it unfold and come to you, because when it does, and then it's over.
And I think I've finally gotten to a point where I'm like, I'm just letting things happen as they're happening, and that has to be okay. But everyone around me is like, so what's next?
Well, and two, do you think that you notice it because, like, your subconscious feels, like, unsafe in this new pattern? You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, oh, I'm gonna do this now. And then it's like, what about this? What about this? What about this? And it's like, I'm still healing that, like, part of me that feels uncomfortable with it. So, and those questions, like, their reality is, like, they're just neutral questions, but we get so triggered by them. Yeah. And I find it so funny because it's like, it's just a question.
And I know it's because you care about my well-being and you want me to be happy, but did you ever stop to consider that getting to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, again, like we were saying, doesn't necessarily make you happy. You could just be happy where you are.
Yeah.
But there's no reason why I should have to be miserable here just because everything's not cookie cutter. And I think that's the problem. People see my enjoyment of what I'm doing now as complacency. Yeah. And it's not.
Yeah.
I'm just taking it in stride for the first time in my life. I'm going with the fucking flow.
Yeah.
And it's okay. And everyone's like, why aren't you panicked? I'm like, because I don't have time to be panicked.
Well, I heard this like metaphor one time, and it was about like if you're on a train ride and it's like 14-hour train ride, whatever, and it's like you could just sit there and like be miserable the whole time and be like, I wish I could get off the train, I just like hate this, I'm so bored, blah blah. Or like you can like make it fun, you can like have a little cozy like, you know, area in your seat, you can have some snacks, you could like play games, like whatever, like make it fun, like to the point of like, oh, the train ride's over, you're getting off now, and like I don't even want to leave, I was having so much fun, even though you're excited for your destination. Like, why wouldn't we just do that? I think I'm tired of fast forwarding through life too. Like I used to just want to get to the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, and like all of the things that happened, and I would just take pictures of everything and write everything down and like try to hold on to everything because I didn't want to lose it, but it's because I wasn't being present with it when it was happening, and I didn't want to let it go because I'm like, oh, well, I wasn't even like fully present for that. So like, but if I have like all of these pictures, like I can at least know that like I have that moment cherished in time. And I love, this is not about like capturing pictures, whatever, like that's a whole different conversation. This is more so about like me feeling like I wasn't ever actually present, and I wanted to have tangible memories to feel like I wasn't losing time, you know? Because I'll look back on like 2013, 14, like as much as that was like the best, exciting, like new chapter start of my life, I really was so like disconnected from myself too. Thank God I have those pictures, because I like internally a lot of those memories faded because I was so distracted.
And then
thinking
you find
about
yourself,
the next thing.
And then you find yourself like forgetting details, and someone will be like, remember when you, and you're like, what?
Oh my God, Leah does that to me all the time. She remembers so many minuscule details, and I'm like, was it suppressed? Was it just like I wasn't fully there? Was I distracted? And I was distracted so much. I really was, and I don't know. And I don't know if that was like a mental like health thing, or if it was like a spiritual thing, or both. Like it could have just been both, but
and I think those like transition seasons are like that because you're supposed to be distracted, right? You're supposed to be trying to get out of the circumstance you're in, which is innately a distracting thing. Like if I'm worrying all the time and working all the time toward getting out of the circumstances that I'm in, I'm not being present in my life because I'm trying to get somewhere else as fast as possible. And so I'm kind of, I'm having that moment now where I'm like, okay, yes, circumstances, sub-ideal, insecurities, very real. That was not meant to rhyme. Not something I want to stay in forever, by any means, for practical and, like, emotional reasons. However, I don't hate them. I'm not unhappy. Like, two things can be true, and they are here. I am happy. I am content. I am enjoying the things that I am doing that only came about because of this interim phase that I'm in and the people I'm meeting and all of that. Is that a crime?
Yeah,
Is it a crime to accidentally enjoy the detour?
Yeah. Is it wrong to enjoy things that are not deemed cookie cutter?
Yeah.
You know what
Anthony
I mean?
brought the Radiator Springs metaphor up the other day. Like the 10 miles off the freeway thing, like just the little detour.
Well, I mean, that's so true. And like, that's what I mean when I say like being open to life and being all the way there with it.
Yeah.
Like letting yourself just enjoy the ride.
And maybe that's the plan. Maybe I'm just going to start saying that to people when they ask me what the plan is.
I'm enjoying the ride. Well, and the thing is, your circumstances aren't wrong. Like, who made them wrong?
Right.
You know what I mean?
And they're not wrong to me, but people are trying to make them wrong to me. And I think I'm just so stubborn at this point that I'm like, no.
Well, and too, like, I think the only part of you that's really getting, like, triggered by what people are saying is, like, your programming.
Yeah.
And your, like, expectations and what you've been told is
because I feel myself fighting it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just, like, the more, again, acceptance. I think acceptance is my word of the year.
Ooh.
But maybe I think that one's going to be, like, a lifer. Because I think, I don't know, something about that concept has resonated with me so much this year. And
you're in your neutrality era.
Yeah.
You're in your Switzerland era.
I've worked, for real. Like, I feel like I've worked through a lot of stuff, and there's still a lot more to work through, but, I think that's really the only way to find peace. Like, I don't want to live a, like, resistant, stressful life.
It's
like,
exhausting.
There's nothing, we say this all the time. We're like, okay, we're going to always recenter back to peace, love, joy, and stillness.
Yeah.
Like, those are, like, the energies we, like,
what a good
Steven
time of year to focus in on those.
Yeah, like, that's literally what we tell each other when we get worked up about stuff. We're like, okay, peace, love, joy, stillness. Like, because those are the energies I want to experience in life. And even sometimes hearing those, I'm like, ugh, that's so annoying. Like, what, like, why can't I just feel annoyed? And it's like, yeah, but, like, you don't have to.
Right.
Like, you don't have to. And it's just been a lifelong journey to, like, get to even this point. And I just intend to keep, like, working through it my whole life, because I just want to evolve. I want to, like, grow on a very soul level, whether that means, like, shifting generational patterns moving forward, or just, like, my own little footprint of this world is, you know, changed a little bit.
Right.
You know, and I think too, like, I don't know, something about my soul's journey, I feel like these are the lessons I'm supposed to be learning. So it's just, it's a lot to just let it seep in, but
I think younger us would be very proud.
Yeah. I would love to hang out with the younger us. Wouldn't that be
I would be like, oh my God, you're tiring me out. I would be tired hanging out with younger us. But truly, like, because we've come such a long way from that, like, forward motion, always looking forward, always looking ahead, always anticipating, like, never like resting in the circumstances or being accepting of what they were, always just trying to improve them or change them or whatever.
Cultivate a feeling. We were always trying to feel something.
A feeling. We were
feeling chasers.
Feeling chasers.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I think that's why I said earlier I, like, feel like a grown-up now. I didn't feel like a grown-up then, because I feel the maturity that has come from being able to reside in my circumstances, because there has been so much that has been outside of my control.
And you can't solve anything right in this moment.
No.
I always have to remind myself that when I spiral, I'm like, can I fix this right now? Yep. No? All right, well, it doesn't really, you know, do me any good to keep swirling on it.
Which in and of itself is a huge growth thing for me, at least. Yeah. Because I was like I will sit here with this problem until it is solved. I do not care how long it takes.
Whenever I get upset, I'm like, is this really working for me? Like, is this, like, yes, this is how I've always operated, but is this going well? Like, are we satisfied with the results? And, you know, most of the time, not really.
Right.
So, anyways, I loved that conversation. Yeah. We went from Taylor Swift to travels to life speculation, rediscovery.
It always comes back.
I think that the juicy parts of our episodes are truly, like, the second half or the end.
We, like, ramp up to it.
It's so funny. Like, that seems to be the trend of our new style here, is, like, so if you're looking for, like, the spiritual, like, deep dive insights, like, the end of the episode is for you. And if you're looking more for, like, the pop culture
chat,
Buffalo weather, you know,
travel
fun
news,
updates, travel news, those are, like, beginning, mid,
So it's really fun.
Yeah.
I love it. This is going to be our last sitting on the bedroom floor episode
I know.
for a while.
I was trying not to think about the fact that I don't know when I'm going to see you again after today. And I'm sad. Your hair is going to be like twice as long as it is now.
Oh my gosh, I know. It is so short.
Unless I just show up in Austria or something. So you never know.
You never know. But
I always know that we will at some point come back to sitting on the bedroom floor. And that is a very happy thought.
It's exciting. It's cute too, because this is the same like bedroom floor we've sat on since we were in high school. Like when you guys would come over and we'd have sleepovers and we'd play Disney Scene It, or
14 years.
Yeah. Or we would, I don't even know. We were just
listen to you play your guitar,
do the Pilates video on the TV,
watch Boy Meets World,
have pizza. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
And then this is the same floor that we're sitting here, recording a podcast, and you're engaged, and I've got my boyfriend over in the other room, and it's like, it's crazy. And like, this is the present moment of this. That was the present moment of that. Like, everything is strung together.
Yeah.
It's just wild. Life is so incredible when you think about it. It makes me emotional and excited.
I know. We went to, like, a quick anecdote because that made me think of it. We went and took some photos at Letchworth on Tuesday with my sister, who, by the way,
she's amazing,
is good at everything, including apparently photography.
She's amazing.
We like sort of had the thought, and she was like, let's do it, let's go to Letchworth. And I was like, okay. So we all like drove out and whatever. We ended up spending the day together, and like we went to dinner and stuff, and it was great. It's great because like we literally saw her like 3 or 4 days in a row. It was great. Like, we don't, everyone's busy and has their own lives. And again, I'm thankful for this season because I get to see so much of her.
Yeah.
And we get so much time
together. Because there were
together.
Seasons when you didn't see her very often at all.
No. I was literally like crying in the car the other day about how I've had like to spend time in therapy working through the guilt about like missing so much of her like formative years. But anyway, that's a different conversation. So we went to Letchworth, and the leaves were like perfect. It was like golden hour. We're like taking photos. I haven't seen any of them yet, but I'm sure they'll be great. And even just to be there, like it was like kind of a warmer day. And then I looked at my year ago today, like, album thing in my phone, and my sister and I went to Letchworth literally the day before, a year ago. Just me and her, like, went for a hike or whatever. I was like, oh my gosh, if I would have known, like, a year ago that day, that a year ago, like, a year later on almost the exact same day, like, my sister and I would be back there again, but with my fiance, and she'd be taking our engagement photos.
That's
and like
crazy.
Like a year, like the leaves looked the same. The weather, like the temperature was the same as it had been. Like we had a warm day that day the year before, which is why we went. It was just one of those moments that was very full circle. Like, well, look at what a year can do.
Life is very cyclical. It's very interesting. Well, like that other, like when we recorded last episode and it was the 3-year anniversary of releasing Rediscover, like things like that, like, that's why I do love having photos with the dates or, like, journal entries and stuff. Because I'll do sometimes the same exact thing, like, literally days with any, like, from each other. And I'm like, this is, like, I didn't plan this at all. So we are creatures of habit. We have cycles.
The memories that you carry and you're, like, maybe you don't remember them until someone brings them up again, but they're there. Like, they're subconsciously there, and your cells have memories. Your body has memories. Your muscles have memories. Like, every part of you, like, your hair has memories.
Yeah.
Every particle of your being carries memories. So it makes sense to me that you would inevitably end up back in that same space again. So it's just very cool to, like, have those moments. And I think they're meant to happen because having that moment to reflect was such a gift. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, look at everything that happened that I didn't do anything about. Like, look at everything that happened while I was waiting, or look at everything that happened while I was just putting one foot in front of the other every day.
Yeah.
What was the meme you sent me? God is a crock pot god.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Not a microwave god.
He's not a microwave god. He's a crock pot god.
Funny.
It's a slow cooker thing. It really is.
Maybe this is a crock pot season, not a microwave season.
Maybe I'm in my folklore era and you're in your 1989 era.
Who
or
knows?
a little of both. I mean, they are my two favorite eras, and they are very different.
I'm in my lover era all the time.
That's fair.
I'm such a lover girl.
Well, enjoy 1989.
Yes, I'm sure you've all listened to it a million times, and we probably all know the songs to all the bonus tracks by now.
By the time this episode comes out. And by the time this episode comes out, where will you be?
I will be...
Will you be in Germany?
Oh my god. I'm going to be there already.
Yay!
I'm going to be in Rothenburg, Germany. So
yay.
Stay tuned. Follow along on all of the things. I'll put them in the show notes, as always. I'm just so grateful for the time we spent it. I love this conversation. Was a great one to leave on.
I think so too.
I feel just like, I don't know. I feel inspired and excited, rejuvenated, like all of those things. Like,
I feel at peace.
Yeah.
Well, just because we aren't going to be sitting on the bedroom floor recording for the foreseeable future does not mean we will not be making episodes, because we will.
We have to do a December one.
Every month.
It's Christmas.
It's Christmas. We got to do it. I personally want to hear all about the travels and the Christmas markets and everything. So, yeah, I guess stay tuned for that.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening. We love you so much. Enjoy whatever era you're in right now, because whatever this era is a special one. Thanks for reflecting with us and rediscovering with us, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye. Outro, take 1.
Thank you for joining us. Oh, hold on.
Outro, take 2.
Thank you for joining us for today's episode of Rediscover.
If you haven't already subscribed, hit that button and join the Rediscover fam.
Come back on the first Tuesday of every month for brand new episodes.
If you're like us and you have opinions about everything, leave us a review on Apple or Spotify. Your positivity inspires our creativity, and we love hearing from you.
Follow us on Instagram at JessicaFaye508 and positively.Kristen.
And check out Jess's blog at theroadjesstraveled with 1L.com.
Until next time, we'll talk to you soon.
Bye!